Over the last 3 years, we've seen the rapid rise of videos documenting the world record history of different games and their categories. Started by the YouTuber and speedrunner Summoning Salt in January of 2017, I'm sure he had no idea just how much of a massive trend he would end up starting just because he wanted to tell the story of the game he would eventually rise to the top of. But now we've had dozens of creators try their hand at making these videos, and while some were much more successful at putting their unique spin on the formula, I'd like to take a minute to highlight some of the best I've seen as a massive fan of the format. First things first, this will obviously be my very biased opinion, but I'll try to outline my criteria for what I am judging these videos on. 1. Ability to explain the game and run to people that aren't familiar with it. 2. How interesting the run itself is and how it changed. 3. Editing and music choices. And 4. How well the story is presented by the creator. So with all that being said, let's get started. Spoiler alert, Summoning Salt will be heavily featured on this list. Number 10 will be from someone who I wish we could get a lot more content from, but only has a few videos uploaded as of the time of this video, and that is Retro in his Ocarina of Time any percent video. As someone who isn't too interested in Zelda runs or games in general, only having done one casual playthrough of Ocarina of Time myself, this video does an excellent job at communicating how the run and game works without being overwhelming.
He performs a super slide from the very top of the tower, slides all the way down and hits the void warp, sparing no time for a lengthy setup. I'll lower the volume because there's a lot of screaming in typical skater fashion.
Half of this video is showing the runs that would be taking world record, and the other half is showing the different glitches the community would find to cut out almost everything you originally needed to beat the game.
Whatever is on C right will point to somewhere in Link's inventory, and the fish points to the Deku Nut count. And 18 is OOT's internal value to represent light arrows. It ends up updating with the value of the light arrows.
With some good editing and a quick pace, this is an instant classic for me.
Oh, God fucking hell, dude.
Number 9 is the Thug 1 video from Speed Docs. Now to be clear, I met the Speed Docs guys at the last couple GDQs I went to and became good friends with them, so if this video wasn't already biased, there you go. But I saw this video before ever meeting them and always loved it anyway. I do love the Tony Hawk games, so maybe it was extra interesting to me, but regardless, this video has lots of great information about the game, tricks, categories, and the runners themselves.
By jumping in the water by the bridge, you can death warp in front of the drug dealer's van and skitch it, riding to the end of the block by the dealer's house. But by jumping in a particular 3-frame window, you can skip the second section of the mission where you drive Johnny Turbo's car and chase the dealers. This trick saves about 30 seconds.
And the thing that sets Speed Dogs apart is they add in interviews with the runners, which makes every video that much more enjoyable to watch, getting the info directly from the people that run the game.
Packle and myself were very close, but he would not give up any ground. Any time that I would even get close, he'd be right there streaming again, 6-hour streams every single day.
I mean, I was a speed bullet to silent. Like, he would get close to me in a number of categories, and I'm like, no, you can't have it. So I just get further away from him. And then he gets closer again. I'm like, no, you can't have it. So I get better times.
Overall, this is a video that got me hooked on their channel in the first place, so I felt like it deserved a spot on this list.
Yo, you're unconscious, kid. One more time to lock it down. You bust something gnarly and you'll own this spot.
Number 8 is Summoning Salt's first appearance on this list, and that is his Blindfolded Punch-Out video. Now, it was especially cool to me seeing him start this trend with a Punch-Out video, and then return to the game for the fascinating history of beating the game blindfolded, especially since it's the game he runs himself. He has plenty of cool info and clips.
These punches usually came out at the same rhythm every time, and since it was just the second fight in the game, Sinister was very familiar with their timing. So, he was able to dodge out of the way of most of them, and take him down with the help of star punches.
As well as stories like Sinister having a dinner at GDQ telling people he had a surprise coming up for his run.
The night before, Sinister, Zallard, and Contra speedrunner DK28 went out to dinner and discussed their upcoming GDQ runs. Although Sinister hadn't told anybody about any blindfolded preparation this year, he had a surprise to tell these guys. Offline from his Twitch stream, he had been extensively practicing blindfolded Punch-Out, and he was prepared to at least have a chance at making it all the way to the last fight in the game, Mike Tyson.
To Jack Wedge getting snowed in and beating the game all the way through blindfolded, one of the first to ever do it. And the thing that Salt does best, in my opinion, is while he's telling a great story throughout, his choice of music always seems to match up perfectly with the tone of what's happening on screen.
But it eventually yielded him some pretty nice results, fight after fight of getting to round 2. His round 2 pattern was pretty random, but nothing that knocked you down in one hit like in the first round. The Tysonator is able to develop a game plan. He would listen for punches at the start of round 2.
All in all, this video is extremely fun to watch from start to finish, and easily one of his best.
Hasta la vista.
Number 7 seemingly came out of nowhere with a video about the Super Smash Bros. Melee Peach Break the Targets record being released by Practical Task in December of 2019. If you follow Smash at all, you've likely heard of Practical Task, constantly providing really in-depth info about Melee matches on Twitter and explaining crazy situations when the casters usually ask for it. So it was kind of a natural fit for him to make an in-depth video explaining the strats and tricks used to shave frames off of Peach's Break the Target stage.
And AJP's last throw is cancelled from a directly sideways air dodge, which means the current world record strategy can be improved.
Not only does he do a great job, but the category itself was such a good choice for a video like this, as the community figured out exactly what you need to get a new world record and the astronomical odds you'd have to hit on top of the brutal execution.
There's no way to pull a beam sword other than suffering through that painful random chance. 1 in 128 to get an item, multiplied by 1 in 6 to get the right item, means that any given pull has a 1 in 768 chance to get a beam sword. Buckle up, because this is about to get wild. Now we're only dividing 4.3 billion by 384 twice instead of 3 times, meaning we have roughly 29,000 runs that pull a bob-omb, a turnip, and another bob-omb in that order. The chance that literally all of those fail to pull a sword is so astronomically low that we can safely say the route is possible. Indeed, since Melee's RNG function is well distributed, it's pretty safe to say that there are 37 or 38 initial seeds, no more, no less, that get us the run we want.
Honestly, just fascinating and held my attention for the entire thing despite its length. Of course, I'm a big Melee fan, so that might help a bit, but I really think this deserves a spot on this list. Number 6 is Summoning Salt's second appearance on this list with the Super Mario Bros. 3 Warpless video.
The most important concept to understand about it is the P meter. When Mario is running on the ground, the meter starts to fill up, and when he's in the air, it decreases. This is Anderson's playthrough of 3-2. He's never able to build up the P meter at the start of the level, and instead has to slowly leap his way across the water and the blocks above it. In a modern speedrun, the player can just barely build it up at the start by waiting and running on each platform. The P speed earned from this lets the player fly through the level without even touching the water.
Salt had already made a video about Super Mario Bros. 3 any%, but when I sat down to watch the Warpless version, it was clearly on another level. Aside from the great music always used in his videos, Salt does an excellent job of showing the exciting rivalry between Mitch and Karua, diving into the differences they had with their approach to the route, as well as keeping it interesting with some fakeouts, making you never know if a run being shown is going to be a new record or not.
This created a bit of an ideological divide between the top 2 runners of the game, Mitch and Karua. Mitch had the world record with the 52-59, and he had a habit of getting a ton of runs to World 2 and just dying over and over to try for early hammer. Karua was also able to avoid fighting a hammer brother that Mitch had to fight in World 4, and got the 7-1 clip in 5 tries versus Mitch's 8. These time saves added up to just a bit more than the approximately 40 seconds that Mitch's 1 death early hammer saved. Just 2 weeks later though, Mitch was able to beat Karua back.
S-tier presentation and editing as we've come to expect from Summoning Salt, and he delivers again with this one.
I got it! Yes! You can't beat this run. I'm sorry, but you can't beat that.
Number 5 is an entry I was very hesitant to put on this list, and that's the 1080 snowboarding video by R. White Goose. Now, if you've kept up with the speedrunning scene for the past year and a half, you'll know that back at the end of 2018, some screenshots were leaked showing Goose saying some very reprehensible and unfortunate things. I'm going to give my opinion about these things as little as possible because it's not what this video is about, but just know that his inclusion on this list is purely for the video he made, separating the art from the artist as much as I possibly can. If you can't listen to someone speak well about something Goose made, skip to the timestamp on screen. Now, about the video. This is another one of those that I really didn't see coming. If he had made a full world record progression video about a GoldenEye run, I would have been less surprised because he already kind of does that with a different format, where he just talks in depth about a certain level and the record's set on it. But he seemingly took inspiration from some of the other creators on this list, and in my opinion did a fantastic job showing the audience the really cool story behind Deadly Fall in this Nintendo 64 snowboarding game.
You see, the game's 5 other time attack courses all follow a pretty straightforward, narrow line down the mountain, with little variation in possible routes through the stage. But Deadly Fall is vast and wide, with an endless number of routes and paths down the course.
The runners honestly felt like characters in a movie, with our protagonist Bert fighting against the strat-hiding brothers.
Alright guys, Failer has done it. Holy smokes, and that run
wasn't perfect at all.
No,
The following day, Phaler posted these ominous lines of text. Bert and Lomas Lumen are pretenders. Deadly Fall will always be my course. Bert set out on his journey to search every corner of Deadly Fall, analyze every frame, examine every inch of powder, until he could find exactly where the brothers were saving another full 1/10 of a second.
It was really cool to see, and it was so good that I couldn't leave it off this list despite the circumstances.
We have re-established ourselves as the kings of Deadly Fall. Bear witness to greatness.
Number 4 will be another video from Summoning Salt. I told you you'd show up a lot in this video. And this time it's a Super Mario Bros. 1 Warbless video from late 2019. Another Warbless video of a game he already covered the any % category of, and again it's a really sick story presented in a way that keeps you deeply interested.
But shortly after GT Ace's run, both he and Cosmic were doing attempts to beat it once again. Just a few days later, GT Ace was able to get a run with the 4-4 clip. By crouching and jumping into this corner in 4-4, it's possible to clip through it and avoid having to go up top and then down.
I won't go into his music choices or editing again because those are just consistently great, especially in the back half of his catalog, but I go back to watch this one time and time again because of the story of Cosmic throughout.
Alright, even if I take damage, I can still get record. I just have to hit wall jump and not be terrible.
I won't spoil it because I think it's definitely worth experiencing if you haven't seen it, but I always find it inspiring to see someone really grind out a run like this trying to get a record or hit a milestone.
Finally, a year and a half after Cosmic's record, another runner was doing attempts to beat it. This is GT Ace. Over the course of the next year, he would refine his warpless skills to be nearly on par with the world record. So he made the decision to start going for the incredibly difficult flagpole glitch in runs. However, making this trick work involves manipulating Mario's subpixel positioning in extremely precise ways by releasing and tapping the left, B, and A buttons on the way to the flagpole.
The climax of this video is only matched by one other video, which you'll be hearing about later in this list.
I don't think I got it.
Andrew didn't look at what they said.
And now we get into the top 3, with number 3 being Average Trey's Super Mario Sunshine 120 Shines video. Now when I saw Trey's Super Mario Sunshine any % video a while back, I was immediately a fan of his style of editing and his deep, in-depth knowledge about the history, seeing as how he's in the community and runs the game he was covering. Then when he made the 120 Shines video, he seemingly had improved a good amount of editing and general presentation, so this one ended up being one of the best I had seen at the time.
And then, faster than you could even say Shine gets, the chicken cracked any hopes of a friendly competition when he dropped a speedrun of 4 hours flat.
I love all his little inside jokes, how he brought in other runners to do voices for people writing posts on the forums.
The thing that amazes me most about this entire run is that I did not die a single time. I've recorded several runs and I gave myself an allowance of 5 deaths. However, every other run I recorded broke that limit. My second best run had 7 deaths. I just didn't feel comfortable submitting a run with so many deaths, so I kept trying. Somehow, some way, I didn't die a single time this time. That's something to be proud of in and of itself.
And his War on Anime section was honestly hilarious.
It's SM27 is to Mario Sunshine as Puncation is to Mario 64. Now gather around, children, as I recall a very important time in Mario speedrunning history when the War on Anime was won. Puncation sniped the 120-star record in Mario 64 at 0200 hours on June 3rd. The anime nation was in full force, having captured the 100% records in their respective games.
Trey might not have made many of these, but on just his second attempt, he made one of the best I've seen to this day.
Hold on when we're flying.
I don't know, dude. Just gotta follow your dreams.
This is sick.
For number 2, I'm going to cheat just a little bit and include 2 videos because it's part 1 and part 2 of Fable The Lost Chapters video from Speed Docs. Now when I originally found Speed Docs, I said the Thug 1 video is what got me into their channel. But the Fable video is the one that really made me become a fan.
These 2 time saves combined only save about a minute though. The other minute and a half come from movement and menu optimizations.
I started getting the movement of every single map down. I started recognizing the patterns, when you can rush, when you can't, minimizing any mistakes in the movement, because really at the core of the game is the movement, every map, and the menuing.
And when they decided to put out an update to the world record progression with a part 2 about a year later, it instantly became one of my new favorites.
I would like wake up, play a bit of Fable, then leave, come back home and play Fable, and then go to sleep thinking about Fable, wake up and be like, what can I do in Fable? That was like for like a few weeks, that was like completely just Fable.
I talked about their interviews with the runners being a really cool feature of their videos, But one thing I hadn't brought up yet was Squidbert, the person who makes remixes of songs from the game they're covering to use in the video. For Thug 1, he created a game called Change, which uses dialogue from the game to create a song I became addicted to for weeks. And for Fable Part 2, he made a remix of the Oakville theme that gave me the heaviest dose of nostalgia, and I loved it. On top of the great music, this video felt needed as an update for the Fable storyline, and I absolutely loved it.
Not to be outdone by this slightly newer newcomer, Cannibal lowered the world record down to a 107.28 on April 28, 2019. Raheem would fire back with a 107.59 on May 6th.
Easily one of the best videos on SpeedDog's channel, and in my opinion, the second best world record progression video out there.
I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do. Cat, do you know what to do? My cat is freaked. He's like, what are you doing? Look at that.
Now in classic top 10 style, I gotta do a quick lightning round of honorable mentions because there's too many great world record progression videos to just have a top 10. Kirby's Air Ride by SpeedDucks, Super Mario Sunshine Any Percent by Average Trey, Earthbound Any Percent by Abysssoft, Vice City by English Bin, Mario Kart 64 by Summoning Salt, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle by Summoning Salt, and Resident Evil 4 by Bird Goes Beep. Now for the big cheese, the cream of the crop, my favorite world record progression video on the internet, Summoning Salt's Choco Mountain video. Now again, this is Salt, so you know it's well edited, has perfect music, etc, etc. But this video is one that I return to extremely often. Anytime I want a bit of a push to my own personal drive to chase records, I know I can get a little inspiration from Abney's absolutely amazing grind to achieve something truly special in Mario Kart 64.
They watched him as his attempt counter climbed higher and higher. First past 10,000 attempts, then past 20,000. Most people wouldn't have had the patience to do these attempts nearly every day for weeks. But Abney knew Choco Mountain was at its breaking point.
It has the perfect combination of a 10 out of 10 story for my taste, and Salt presenting it with the exact tone I think it deserves.
Greg called out the possibility of this trick, and 9 years later, he was the one to do it for the first time. He hit the wall in the perfect spot, held left, and was able to completely clear the wall to land on the track below.
With all the videos that include Mario Kart 64, you can really tell how much of a fan Salt is of Abney, as well as the awesome VAJ.
Why was Abney bothering to do this? He was literally booting up his stream just to drive into a wall over and over again for a few hours. You'd think that it would be incredibly boring to watch him do these attempt sessions, but that wasn't at all the case. He streamed all of his attempts on Twitch, and the chat there was filled with hundreds of people anxiously awaiting the one run that would be the one.
And it adds just a little something special to any time he talks about him. This one is just fun all the way through, and I can confidently put it at the top of this list.
Check this out! I beat the task, yo! Second lap, man! I jumped and then I hit it! I was like, whoa! Fuck it out! Ebony, I got you, man! PJ's back, yo! Check this out, yo!
And that's my list. I'm aware that not many people, if any, are as much of a fan and a nerd about world record progression videos as I am. I'm also aware how cliche and overdone top 10 videos are. But I really just wanted an excuse to talk about these videos I love so much, as well as finally put a piece of edited content on my YouTube. And this seemed like a good way to open that door. I'm going to try to make some other videos, but I hope you enjoyed this one for now. Thanks for watching.